Yes, hello again to all you fragrance fanatics out there, and welcome back to another episode of Mag's Frags, where it's the fragrance that's the star of the show. My name's Paul, and it's my mission to pair you with your perfect signature scent. Today I'm taking a look at the Club de Nuit private key collection from Armaf, which basically consists of 5 different fragrances in the range, but I'm going to be giving my thoughts on 4 of them today. Over the years, the Armaf brand have become renowned for producing affordable, long-lasting, smell-alike fragrances, which are inspired by some of the most popular niche and designer brands. But this latest range marks a departure from the usual repertoire, and all of these are unique, original creations that have been produced in collaboration with some of the industry's leading perfumers, including the likes of Quentin Biche and Christophe Renaud amongst the esteemed lineup. They all come in an extrait de parfum concentration, which basically means they're pure perfumes and as highly concentrated as you can get. But all of this does come at a bit of a premium, and each fragrance in this flagship range was priced way higher than you'd normally expect to pay for an Armaf fragrance, and they retailed at an eyebrow-raising £150 a bottle on launch day. And considering that you usually pay in the region of £30 to £40 for an Armaf at the discounters, this new full retail price point was going to inevitably turn a few people off, including myself at the time, but you can now pick them up at a much more affordable price online. I have spoken to the guys directly at Armaf because they did call me up a few weeks ago just to see if I'd be interested in trying these out to review, and they were very keen to stress that these are definitely not copies or inspired by any other fragrances, and they were very confident that I'd be blown away by the quality of them. So just for full disclosure, these were sent to me for free just to give my opinions on, but I'm not being paid for this review. It's not a sponsored video, and Armaf I'll definitely not get to see it before it goes live. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that, and if I'm not keen on any of them, I'll definitely say so. I'd never produce a video if a brand ever tried to influence me in any way or tell me what to say about their products, etc. So you can be sure that these are my honest opinions. Okay, so in terms of the packaging design, I'm not going to waste loads of time doing individual presentations of each fragrance because they're all presented in exactly the same way, apart from just the different colours. But what I will start by saying is that the private key range is way better in terms of its packaging quality than all my other Armaf fragrances that I've got in my collection. You get a solid presentation box which comes in a matte finish, which also includes some spot gloss detailing like this Club de Nuit branding on the side. We've also got like a sterling logo on the back. On the front they also come with the same subtle thin metallic branding, including the name of the fragrance and this kind of arched window icon. There's a small authenticity logo on the other side, and then underneath is where you'll just find loads of barcode and your product information and your batch code, etc. And if you want to know the batch codes of any of these ones, I will post them down in the description. At the top of the box is a little pull tab with an Armaf logo which is printed on it. And by pulling this, you just reveal the bottle inside the inlay tray, along with a piece of paper containing an inspirational verse that does differ with each fragrance, but I've got to say none of them make much sense to me if I'm honest, but it's still a nice little touch. There's also another little pull tab beneath the bottle just to help you remove it from the tight surround that it sits in, and as soon as you get the bottle in your hands you can really tell that there's been no expense spared. It's a very weighty bottle and it feels super premium quality. There's some embossed branding in the glass, you get a solid metal metallic cap and this metal key emblem which is pressed into the glass at the front, complete with a little crystal. There's the Club de Nuit logo etched into the neck of the bottle, the name of the fragrance printed below in a silver metallic print, and yet more branding on the atomizer. The spray quality is more than adequate and it delivers a short but powerful blast of juice, and I've got to say that I've been critical about Armaf's presentation in the past, but these are top notch and I don't really know how they could be improved on, so a great first impression, but now more importantly I hope that the juice inside is as equally as impressive as what the presentation is. Okay, so the first fragrance in this line is called Private Key to My Dreams, which comes in this black bottle, and it's predominantly a spicy, leathery fragrance with also some fruity sweetness up top and a darker, earthier base. The guest perfumer for this one is Mathieu Nardin, or Nardin, who has also created fragrances for Miller Harris and By Kilian and Xerjoff, just to name but a few, so a very well-respected perfumer. The top notes in this one are pineapple leaf, black pepper, pink pepper and cardamom. In the heart we've got apple, lavender, bourbon geranium and orange blossom, and the base notes in this are vanilla absolute, leather, patchouli, vetiver and cedarwood. Yeah, so this one starts out quite fresh and uplifting with a really decent spicy kick to it. There's some tart, juicy sweetness from the apple and pineapple leaf, and even though you'll notice the vanilla, it's not overly sweet, and for the first 10 or 15 minutes or so, it's the spiciness of the cardamom, the bourbon geranium and the black pepper that you're going to pick up on first. It's not all sunshine and sparkles though, because you'll also be met with some darker, more masculine notes, including the leather and some woody earthiness from the patchouli and the cedar wood. My initial first impression of it when I first smelled it was that I thought it smelled a little bit like Leighton by Parfums de Marly, but after comparing the two side by side, there is a fair amount of difference between the two, and I'd say that this has more woodiness and it's maybe slightly sweeter. But I guess it's just that lavender and the spices that bring a subtle Leighton vibe. But like I say, they are quite different when you compare the two side by side. As the fragrance develops, it does that thing where, depending on what accord your brain is trying to focus in on, it will jump out at you. So if you think leather, then you will smell a very leathery kind of accord. And if you think woodiness, then bam, you'll pick up on the woodiness of the cedar and the earthy patchouli and the vetiver. I personally get more of an earthy, woody dry down myself personally, but like I say, every now and again I will get the odd fleeting waft of a nice leather accord. It's a very high quality complex fragrance that smells masculine and powerful, and if someone handed me a sample of it in an unbranded spritz bottle and I didn't already know what it was, I'd definitely think it was from an expensive niche brand. It smells rich and luxurious, and you can tell that it's a blend of high quality ingredients because there's nothing harsh or synthetic about it. It's a very versatile scent that you could definitely wear all year round, but for me, I'd be more likely to wear it in cooler temperatures and in the evenings. It also has a slightly more of a dressed up smart character rather than being a scent that I'd wear casually during the day. Because it's got like a crisp, clean smell with a very potent projection, and the performance overall that you get with this is pretty impressive, and you'll still be catching wafts of it 9 or 10 hours after you first sprayed it. It's a complex scent without being overly challenging, and it's definitely one that more people are going to like rather than dislike, so it's definitely well worth checking out. Okay, this next one is called Private Key to My Life, which comes in the navy blue and rose gold colour scheme. And this one is a citrus, woody, aromatic fragrance for men. It was produced by Otteretto Landi, who again has a very impressive CV with the likes of Astrophil and Stella, MCM and Diesel calling upon his creative nose, amongst a host of other brands. The top notes in this one are pink pepper, grapefruit, melon, lime, tangerine, bergamot, lemon, black pepper, plum and pineapple. In the heart, we've got rose, lily of the valley, white flowers, jasmine, freesia, magnolia and geranium. And the base notes are white musk, woody notes, leather, amber and patchouli. Okay, so the opening of this one is bright and vibrant with a refreshing burst of citrus notes, including the grapefruit, the bergamot and the tangerine, which creates a lively, summery feel right from the initial blast. These zesty citrus notes are prominent, but they're balanced out and softened by the pineapple, the melon and the plum, which just add a bit of a tropical, juicy fruitiness to it. There's also a sprinkling of pink and black pepper in there from the start also, so the introduction really grabs your attention and just pulls you in. Then after about 10 minutes or so, it begins to develop into more of a clean, soapy scent, with a soft creamy texture because the heart is mainly dominated by elegant white florals, although the geranium does add a mild green spicy undertone. The base is fairly similar to what you get in the Private Key to My Dreams fragrance, with a rich earthy core of woods, including patchouli and leather, but there's also some white musk added to this one, which brings a mild powdery accent to the far dry down. You may reference the dark blue bottle and hear me describe it as a fresh citrusy fragrance, etc. And you might want to put two and two together and think that it's maybe inspired by Bleu de Chanel or some other blue designer fragrance, but it's definitely not. And although I do get some very subtle reminders of a couple of other fragrances that I have in my collection when I smell this at various different points, it's certainly not worth comparing them. And it does definitely have its own unique character. It's not a clone of any other fragrance. I really like this one, and it's got a super versatile scent profile that you could definitely wear all year round. And out of these four, it's the one I'd reach for to wear as a casual daily driver. It's very easy to wear and there's nothing complex or challenging about it. Although it does have an expensive and luxurious quality, so you could also wear it dressed up in the evenings for a night out. In terms of performance, it's got an attention-grabbing projection for the first couple of hours, but it's not too loud or in your face or aggressive. As it settles down though, it does transition into a nice moderate projection. You'll keep catching wafts of it for a good maybe 7 to 8 hours. But it's perhaps not quite as long lasting as some of the others in the range, with it being more on the fresher side. But it's still a really excellent performer that will be more than adequate for most people. It's an all-round safe and decent blind buy, and it will definitely cover you for every situation. So yeah, a really solid one in this small little line. Right, so next up we have this one called Private Key to My Love, which is in the deep red coloured bottle with gold detailing. And this one is a fruity floral fragrance for men and women. It was created solely by Ali Asghar Fakhruddin, who is the in-house perfumer at Armaf and also the CEO and chairman of the Sterling Perfumes Group. The top notes in this one are passion fruit, peach, pear and cassis. In the heart, we've got whitewood, amberwood and lily of the valley. And the base notes in this one are musk, sandalwood, vanilla and patchouli. Yeah, so the first two that I've reviewed share some similar qualities with a masculine, earthy backbone and some spiciness, etc. And you can tell that they belong to the same collection of fragrances, but this one goes off in a completely different direction with an explosion of intense sweetness off the top with a thick jam-like fruitiness. And whereas the first two smell totally unique, this one instantly reminded me of a couple of other fragrances that I've smelled before, which are Herba Pura by Xerjoff, and it's even more like Kirka by Tiziana Terenzi. It's a very rich, sweet and indulgent aroma that a lot of men will feel that it comes off a bit too feminine, so you'll need to have a bit more, like a bit of confidence to pull this one off. I personally enjoy sweet fruity fragrances like Plum Japonais, Lost Cherry, Kirka and Herba Pura, etc. So I find it to be really nice smelling. But on the other hand, it would be one that I'd be least likely to recommend as a blind buy. And you'd need to know that you enjoy this kind of scent before you pull in the trigger on it. The sweet, fruity vibe continues through into the heart, where you may pick up on a hint of the lily of the valley, which adds a gentle soapiness, but the vanilla and amberwood keeps that sweetness dialed up to the maximum deep into the dry down, where musks and sandalwood create a soft musky ending. I don't really get any of the patchouli in the base, and pretty much to my nose this stays sweet and fruity from start to finish. It's got a fruity, summery vibe about it, but it's without doubt better suited to cooler summer days or evenings, and it'd become a little bit too cloying to wear in the high heat of the midday sun or in a confined space, etc. I see this being perfect for formal, summery outdoor occasions, like if you were a guest at a wedding or going to a garden party or something like that. It needs a bit of air to breathe, but in the right setting, it's an absolutely stunning smelling scent, and the performance is excellent too. You'll be catching wafts of this all day long, but again, just be mindful that if you do plan on wearing it indoors, maybe go just 2 or 3 sprays at the most, otherwise I can see this becoming quite sickly very quickly. Okay, so just before I tell you about this last one in the list, which is also the latest addition to the lineup, I just want to quickly mention the one that isn't on my desk today, which is called Private Key to My Success. And this one is the one that Quentin Beach and Christophe Reynaud were drafted in to produce alongside Jordi Fernandez. It's the one in the grey bottle with chrome detailing, but unfortunately Armaf didn't send me this one to test, which is a real shame because the notes look really interesting and the perfumers are top tier who created this one, so maybe it's been very popular and they've run out of stock, but it definitely looks like a really good one to try out. And I'll be sure to bring you a review of it as soon as I can get my hands on a bottle. It's got notes of bergamot, ginger, red chili pepper, lavender, akigala wood and vetiver, so I imagine it's going to be another nice spicy woody scent with perhaps the lavender bringing a springtime airy floral accent and the vetiver just adding some drier grassier touches. But if you've already tried it or picked up a bottle, then I'd be really interested to know what your experience have been with it. So don't forget to leave me a comment and tell me all about it down in the comment section if you have managed to get your nose on it. Okay, so the final one today is actually a new addition to the lineup, and it's a brand new release for 2024. It's called Private Key to My Soul, which gets the opulent looking white and rose gold colourway. And on the side of the box, it's described as a premiere edition. The guest perfumer on this one is Alex Lee, who has produced fragrances for the likes of Lancôme, Carolina Herrera, Penhaligon's, plus many more top-tier brands in the past. So again, Armaf are really up in the game by drafting in these experienced noses to produce these really high-end quality fragrances. The top notes in this one are mandarin orange and grapefruit. In the heart, we've got lavender and sage, and the base note in this one is vanilla. Yeah, so I'll start off by saying that right from the initial spray of this one all the way through to the far dry down, it's by far the most unique smelling one out of these four. And even though none of them are actual copies of any other fragrances directly, they all have maybe 20% that may remind you of something else that you've come across before. But with this one, there's not a single thing in here that reminds me of any other scent that I've ever smelled in the past. It opens up bright and fresh, and both the citrusy top notes and the wild florals in the heart of the scent basically hit you at the same time, so you get this fresh but slightly herbaceous and slightly sour, zesty introduction that's very interesting but can also catch you a little bit off guard when you're not prepared for it. Like I say, it's a totally new and unique aroma for myself to get my head around, and I'm not going to lie, it has taken a little bit of time to get used to it and kind of understand exactly what it is that I'm smelling. The main prominent notes are without doubt the lavender and the sage, because you get this sort of tranquil, outdoorsy green herbal accord, which is mixed with a mild earthiness. But I guess it's the grapefruit and the mandarin mixing together with the florals that brings the slightly sour characteristic to the blend, which does stick around for the first couple of hours. I do also notice a small amount of sweetness way off in the background, but nowhere near the amount that I was expecting when I saw mandarin orange and vanilla in the note breakdown. This to me is all about those aromatic wild florals, and it's only when the fragrance is about 4 hours in that you'll get the sweetness of the vanilla start to make an appearance, once all the attention grabbing characteristics have faded away. But for the first couple of hours, it's got that kind of oriental garden kind of vibe to it. And it's something that I'd expect to smell from Issey Miyake, Kenzo or Nasamoto rather than an Armaf fragrance. I'd say that this is the most complex one out of these four and will appeal more to fragrance enthusiasts rather than your everyday casual fragrance buyer, because it does push a few boundaries and challenges your senses a bit more. But it's super interesting and it's versatile enough to wear casually or dressed up like during the spring and autumn months. The performance again is stellar on this one, and it's going to give you at least 7 or 8 hours before you can no longer detect it on yourself. And it's got a pretty potent projection for the first couple of hours too. This is a £150 niche fragrance that smells like a £150 niche fragrance. Not everyone's going to love it, but there's no denying that it's a very well crafted scent and totally unique. Okay, so what's my verdict? Are these Club de Nuit private key fragrances worth the money? Well, I'd say if brand perception is not a concern for you, then yes, they're definitely worth every penny. The overall quality of the presentation, and more importantly the juice inside each bottle, is as high quality as anything you'll find on a niche fragrance counter in my opinion. Although I would have personally marketed them under a totally different brand name though, because as decent as they are, some people are always going to have an issue with paying over £100 for an Armaf fragrance based on what they've kind of been able to pick them up for in the past. I'm actually one of those people, and had I not been sent these for free to review, I probably wouldn't have purchased them and paid full retail. But now that I've had the chance to test them out, I can actually see how they justify that higher price point, because they really are decent quality. But anyway, out of these four, I would say that the private key to my dreams and the private key to my life are the ones that I personally reach for the most. These are the two that are the most versatile to wear and the safest blind buys that I think most people would enjoy. These other two are kind of more specialist perfumes that are going to appeal to a more specific audience, but they're no less impressive. But knowing my luck, the one that I haven't tried out myself will obviously be the best in the bunch, so I'm definitely going to need to pick up the private key to my success one at some point just to complete the set. Okay, so once again, that's about it for this latest review, and if you've enjoyed it, then please don't forget to smash a like on that thumbs up button, and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future fragrance content. So until next time, guys, stay safe, keep smelling fresh, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Bye bye for now.